Hey there, Detroit sports fanatics. I'm Taylor Phillips, and welcome to Taylor's Detroit Sports Show on Blog Talk Radio. You can call in at 646-478-4837 for your Detroit sports opinion. That is 646-478-4837. I am with co-host Ed Smith. How you doing tonight?
Wonderful, Taylor. How about yourself?
Pretty good. Ed Smith just got a job. Congratulations.
Thank you, Taylor. Thank you very much.
And I got
well needed.
and as you people can see on Ustream.tv, the simulcast, I am back on Ustream.tv, and I got a haircut. What do you all people think?
All right.
Yep.
I'm sure it looks fun.
Yep. Thanks. And I'm also simulcasting back on Google Plus Hangouts. Tonight we're going to lead off with the Babcock stuff. He is signed with the Leafs, and then we'll shift to the Tigers. And then I have a Griffins update on who their next opponent is. First off, Mike Babcock decides earlier this morning to leave the Detroit Red Wings and he signed an 8-year, $50 million deal with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Just when we thought yesterday, when the Maple Leafs were out of the running on Babcock, and it came down to the Red Wings and Sabres, the Maple Leafs surprised everybody by getting back into the running, and then bidding a $50 million deal for 8 years. And Babcock actually bought into it and signed with them. That's actually good news for most of the Red Wing fans, because they thought Babcock worn out his welcome, because he has not led the Red Wings to a conference final since 2009, and his past Red Wings rosters have lost in the first round 3 times in the last 4 seasons, when they could have put away the Lightning in 5 games. And I actually liked the signing, like Babcock with the Leafs, because it was time for Babcock to go from the Wings, in my opinion. Because Babcock was never on the same page with his was not on the same page with his players, unlike since the late 2000s, when he and his team won the Cup in 2008. There were also points when he and Dominik Hasek didn't see eye to eye in the 2007-2008 season. That's just unbelievable.
This whole turn of events in the past 24, 48, how many hours were there? How they're doing this cipher? It's very unbelievable. I mean, we all had a good hunch from for a long time that Babcock was not going to be committed to Detroit. The formality was just made official today. But credit first and foremost to Jeff Moss, and especially Justin Spiro, for once again breaking the exclusive, getting it right before everybody else did on Twitter, like it did Jim Harbaugh, the Michigan thing, and as well as a couple other things, items that I'm missing out on right now. So credit Jeff Moss at Jeff Moss DSR and Justin Spiro at Darko State News for that. But moving on now to the story. for the longest time, like we expected, especially late last night, we thought, okay, looks like he may be going to Buffalo. Then you got word earlier today, that now Buffalo was out of the race. And then you kind of pumped up some Red Wing fans' optimism yet, because they didn't officially hear still yet to hear officially that Babcock was leaving Detroit. Then the news came sometime around noon, whatever the case may be, that yes, Babcock was leaving. Then got everybody was wondering, well, if he's turning down Buffalo and he's leaving the Wings, where the hell is he going to go? Then almost out of nowhere, like a surprise opponent, like we're going to use some wrestling terminology here, like a surprise opponent out of nowhere came to Toronto Maple Leafs. And that was the team. Remember, we can go back to some of these shows that I've done with you, Taylor. That was the name that I kept mentioning this whole entire period when people were wondering where Babcock was going to go. Toronto, 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 Toronto. In a way, I guess to me, in a way, it kind of makes all parties happy here, because for a contingent portion of Red Wing fans that went Babcock on, you got your wish. And for those that didn't want to see him go, well, guess what? He didn't go too far. He just went. If you want to see him again, just take your behind over the border and go watch him coach the Leafs on games when they're at home and the Wings are off, or not at all. So you can do that. So we're going to see him a couple times too, because the whole Leafs Wings thing. So great, don't be too sad about that. And Babcock, I thought that was pretty sly on his part. Because I guess a part of him, he didn't want to leave or be straight too far away from the Detroit area, because I guess he grew accustomed to being here throughout these years. So doing that, he figured, okay, granted the team is not as good, but I like Toronto because it's nearby Detroit, so let me do that. I guess that's where him and his family agreed on that part. And also, he kind of played Buffalo for a fiddle here, because when you heard the reports of Buffalo jacking up their price from their offer from $30 million to $50 million, okay, you really got a shot. Then you hear Buffalo's out, but all of a sudden, now out of nowhere, Toronto comes in with their $50 million offer. Maybe Babcock was just playing Buffalo in order to get Toronto to jack up their price to see to match Buffalo. Maybe Toronto was one of Babcock's top choices all along, or his top choice if he wasn't coming back to Detroit, and he just wanted enough money, the right amount of money. And clearly, as you can see about his contract, he's got it.
So with that being talked about, Jeff Blashill reportedly, according to Ken Holland, the Red Wings general manager, appeared to be the leading candidate for the replacement of Mike Babcock as the head coach of the Red Wings. Blashill is still coaching his Griffins, though. And his Griffins are, quick update, Griffins are going to take on the Utica Comets, who shut out the Oklahoma City Barons 1-0 in Game 7 of the semifinals. So it'll be the Griffins and the Comets in the Western Conference Final in the Calder Cup playoffs in the AHL. Blashill is indeed the leading candidate now, according to fans, and now to Ken Holland. He is picked up on it, and Jeff Blashill is trending all over the place. The fans and Ken Holland, and there are other options out there, but I think Blashill should be the head coach of the Red Wings. He's in his last year with the Grand Rapids Griffins, and he wants the Calder Cup one last time. He wants to leave the Griffins on a happy occasion and enter the Red Wings and upgrade to the NHL head coaching experience with the Red Wings. He's had plenty of connections in the past with younger Red Wing players such as Brendan Smith, Luke Glendening, Tomas Tatar, and Gustav Nyquist, and I think he can help them. I think he can help those younger players, such as Brendan Smith, play more disciplined hockey. Tatar and Nyquist still have been playing very, very well. Tatar and Nyquist, they've been racking up the goals and assists last last 2 years. And Glenn Denning has been doing a heck of a job on the penalty killing unit. And Blashill's just counting on Tatar, Nyquist, and Glenn Denning to just keep doing their jobs. And Blashill wants to help Smith out. And Tomas Jurko as well. Blashill has had a connection with him when in the 2013 Calder Cup, and that's got to be it. And when Blashill comes, it'll be a much better feeling for those younger players that have struggled, Smith and Jurko, for example. But Glenn Denning and Tatar Nyquist just keep doing their jobs, and Blashill should help Smith and Jurko, those kind of players.
Definitely, the connection's already there, right? Since Blashill coached them, right, when they were down in the AHL, so that familiarity will be reestablished. I presume it will be, definitely. And also, you can also bring up a couple of guys up with them, namely Teemu Pokinen, for one.
Yeah.
And wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So, yeah, this is like about as seamless a smooth transition that you can possibly make. And I'm sure without doubt the players will have no problems with it whatsoever.
And Anthony Mantha, he at first Jim Devellano thought Mantha had a disappointing season, which was not the case. Mantha had a good season. He scored 15 goals in 62 games. That's not terrible at all. Like we mentioned about a week or two ago, and I think Anthony Mantha still has the potential to be an NHL goal scorer today, not just in the future. Today, Holland should call up Teemu Pulkkinen and Anthony Mantha to start the 2015-2016 NHL with the Detroit Red Wings.
I'm kind of on that same feeling too. All right, at the very most, at worst case scenario, near or around the All-Star break, because if they go the majority of the season without getting called up again, like really, because you can help. This are two young players, especially when you want to start that transition a couple of years from the likes of Stenberg and Datsuk to now the guys like Jurko and Tatar and Nyquist and now Pokinen and Mantha. So why not bring them up and get them the experience that they need? Because when a couple of years come by, it's going to be up to them now to take over this team and be the face of the franchise, essentially. Or face is, rather, I should say.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And first prediction ahead of time, I would like to say the Detroit Red Wings make it to the Stanley Cup final next calendar year. I'm not really. It's just a wild prediction for me. I think the Red Wings will finally reach the conference finals with Jeff Blashill being connected to his players, and he can. Who knows? Maybe he can even help the aging Zetterberg and Datsuk. I still think Datsuk's still got some left in him. Zetterberg, though, it's already running out of his juice.
He was virtually non-existent against Tampa, so you wonder if his best days or if he's coming up on the end of his road very soon too. You never know. As for me, I'm gonna say hopefully conference final. I won't go too wild on a limb here and say, oh, they're gonna reach the cup. No, I'll say if you get out of the second round, I consider that season a success. If you get to the second round, even if you get to the second round, a new coach, I get that, but to me, this will really be a successful season if you make as deep a playoff run as possible, because you got a new coach there, and if the players seem to get along with this guy more than they did with the old one, and gel well with each other, especially the connections from the previous players, the that Blashill coached, and now the new ones he will coach, and this is the future ones he's going to bring up. You know what? If you make a run to the conference final, that's a successful season as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, well, I love to see another cup being brought home back to Detroit. But after this recent string of early round exits and one and dones, making it to the conference final would be very sufficient with me, to say the least. Gotta be honest with you.
Yep. Good. That's very good. I was hearing from Jeff Moss on his Facebook and Twitter that he is predicting that this summer the Red Wings will make an 8 to 10 player trade that includes Brendan Smith, Stephen Weiss, and Phil Kessel and Dion Phaneuf. They might put Luke Glendening in there. That is a very, 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 very big trade. And
not to mention, he also threw in the name Jimmy Howard.
Yep, Jimmy Howard.
Even a part of that, right? So even if a part of that comes true, or goes down as officially final when it's all said and done, yeah, that is a big trade, mammoth trade, especially considering the coach that just left to coach this new team. So I completely understand why a trade like this would be made. Especially, I let you know that Toronto, along with that big money they're giving Babcock, they're giving it some more control over the roster as well, as opposed to what would have been here in Detroit, to his liking, I would say.
Yeah, and trading Jimmy Howard would be very nice. Speaking of Howard though. Howard still wants to compete for the number one contender spot with Peter Mrazek, and if Mrazek stays the number one goaltender, then Howard may in training camp, then Howard may might as well be traded anyhow. But Moss wasn't even waiting.
Trade him, but you never know. I'm not trying to put this out there, so please, universe, don't jinx me on this. If, say, Mrazek goes down with an injury and you need a backup that has reliable experience, then yes, it will be very nice to have Jimmy Howard in that position. But if you have that enough faith in Mrazek, then we're clearly, without doubt, I think he's going to be the starting goalie next year. Let's get that away. But if you feel confident enough in his health and longevity and ability to stay healthy and not get injured, then by all means, if you want to trade Jimmy or release him or whatever you want to do, fine. I mean, I'll always root for Jimmy. I'll always be a fan of his, but it's clear. Until he can really truly prove something in training camp and preseason, this is Peter Mrazek's team to go for. Period.
All right, let's talk some Tigers. They salvaged one of the 3-game series against the Milwaukee Brewers at Comerica Park. 5-2 at the final. Tigers win. Tigers jump out ahead 1-0, and then they jump out. Then Ryan Braun gives up a home. Ryan Braun hits a blast, a homer off Shane Green. Shane Green allowed one run. Actually, two earned runs because of Brad Ausmus putting in Angel Nesbitt in the 7th inning. Tigers were ahead 2-1 when Shane Green, in the 7th inning, gets the first 2 batters out, and then he walks the next batter, and Ausmus pulls him, and Nesbitt just allows another base runner on, and then a runner's on first and second for Elian Herrera, and he singles down and he hits one down the right field line for probably an RBI single or double, and to tie the game, and that costs Green an earned run. Fans were applauding when Green left the game, when Ausmus pulled him for Nesbitt, and Green only pitched around 103 pitches when Ausmus should have let Green finish the 7th inning. But Nick Castellanos in the 8th inning with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Bronxton got the first 2 batters out, like Green did, and then he allowed, and then Bronxton allowed the bases to be loaded for Nick Castellanos. And Nick Castellanos rips one down the right field line, and it drops in for at least a single, but the right fielder just couldn't quite get to that bounce, and it goes all the way to the wall, and 3 runs come in to score, and Castellanos winds up with a triple. He almost, it appeared like he almost hit an inside the park grand slam to me. That could have made it 6-2. Tigers win 5-2. Joaquin Soria gives up a leadoff double, but gets the next 3 out for his 13th save out of his 13th save opportunity this year. Not a 1-2-3 inning, but he still got it done and got the save. Tigers avoid what would have been a rare sweep by the worst team in the National League, the Milwaukee Brewers. Brad Ausmus got at home. Brad Ausmus gets bailed out after making a bad move, putting in Nesbitt, who allowed the tying run to score in the top of the 7th. And Shane Green is forced to settle with a no decision, and instead Jabba Chamberlain gets the win. He got the first 2 batters out and then walked the next, and then got the 4th batter out. And Chamberlain was feeling lucky tonight. The Tigers' offense gave Chamberlain the win. They could have. The offense was struggling until that 8th inning. They could have. Even the offense could have given Green the win with a lot more run support.
I thought Green, especially when you look how he did throughout this whole entirety of the game, he didn't let the ball home run rattle him. He settled in, got back in control, and was fairly dominant in the remainder of his outing. My view, yes, I get it that you don't want him to give up the tying run, but here's the thing: he's pitched so long to the game, and he's put you in a position where you're up ahead. Let him finish it. If they score off him or not, let him finish it. It wasn't like he lost control of his pitch. When walked the bases loaded. No, just one guy, and it was 2 out. You never know what could happen next. He could have gotten the next out, a pop up, foul out, strike out, whatever. Obviously, bad move by Ausmus, and it proved to be bad when unfortunately Nesbitt gave up the tying run. And I gotta tell you this: whenever, I can't explain why, but I know the number is different. But just seeing Angel Nesbitt, like, he looks on the mound, his stance, even down to the way that he throws the ball, I get these weird, eerie Jose Valverde vibes, and we all know. How much Valverde used to give all of us a freaking heart attack practically every time he was out there, especially his last couple of years here. So I didn't like that uneasy feeling. I felt that come up a couple of times whenever I've seen Nesbitt a couple of times this year. Now, granted, it hasn't blown up. He hasn't blown up and given up a boatload of runs, but I don't know. I just don't feel that quite comfortable in Nesbitt. I sure as hell don't feel comfortable in Java. So Nesbitt, okay. But luckily, he got bailed out, just like Ausmus got bailed out, like you mentioned, by the offense, by specifically Nick Castellanos. Good for him, because he has been very, very, very underwhelming this season. So good for him, to get to be the deciding factor in the game tonight. That's good for Nick. That gives him good confidence. Soria, what can I say? He's the money man. You know, when he comes in, it's basically that time when you say, okay, kids, let's stretch up. It's time to head home, beat the traffic, because this one's over. So even with the leadoff double, he did what he had to do and got the next three guys out. That 13 for 13. In sentence, we might call that a lucky number, ladies and gentlemen, because that's what he has been for us, especially since Joe Nathan's broken down, washed himself, went out for the rest of the year with his injury. Nothing personal against Joe, but I take that back. That is personal, especially the way he's treated against the fans. That's my personal shot against you, Joe, jackass. Anyway, Soria.
Yep.
Thank God for Soria. Still, get some more freaking bullpen help if you can, Dombrowski. Luckily, Rondon's coming up. Will be coming back up soon. The bullpen itself has not been a disaster because, like you mentioned, Ken Rosenthal tweeted the other day, they're leading the majors in ERA in terms of bullpen ERA. Believe it or not, I had to rub my eyes myself when I saw that. So now it's up to the starting pitching, and we saw a good example of that tonight with Green. We hope to see it continue tomorrow night.
Tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow afternoon.
Excuse me.
Yeah, 108 against the Houston Astros, who are 27-14, leading the AL West. 5.5 games against ahead of the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. The Astros are going to give the Tigers a test. And I think Alfredo Simon is on the mound for the Tigers tomorrow afternoon.
Okay, Simon's in the first round. All right. So Simon, I like the fact that he put it in a winnable position against an Atlanta outing against St. Louis.
Oh, check that price. Check that price.
It is price. Okay, I figured. That's right. We just saw Simon on Sunday night, so I figured it'd be weird to see him again on Thursday.
Simon will pitch Friday.
Yeah, that's good. Well, that's good. It's a good thing we got Price there to go against, in my opinion, the biggest surprise of this young baseball season, because we've seen how horrible in recent years. I'm talking straight up dog doo-doo horrible the Houston Astros have been. So horrible that they managed, this is a complete awful baseball team. But they did have Jose Altuve. He's coming to his own ever since his rookie year. Now, I guess they're putting it all together. They're not just making it one-man show. And now, they're well ahead in their division. This is a division that's got the likes of the Angels and the Oakland A's. Even though the Rangers have been quite that vintage team we know of in recent years, they're still an okay team. They still get some good talent, in my view. They're just not playing to their potential. But still, that's a stacked and loaded division. And the leader of that is the Houston Astros. So, the Tigers, they got themselves a test tomorrow. Especially, so good thing they got 90 seconds. I would not feel good at all knowing you just got swept at home. Could have been swept at home by the god-awful last place Milwaukee Brewers. Now you got to go up against the Houston Astros. So, good win. Let's continue this momentum on to the next one. Get string some wins together. Offense, wake up, please. And better starting pitching outings like we saw tonight from Simon Green. 60 seconds.
Yep. Less than 60 seconds here. Ed, we're going to wrap this up. I thank you for talking with me tonight. Great Babcock talk, especially. Yep. Thanks, Ed. Good night.
Good night.
And I'm Taylor Phillips saying TTFN, ta-ta for now.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.